Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I'm Kevin Kietzman with you for the next hour, and we got some tasty topics on the broadcast today. And as always, we'll invite you to take part in the show by joining us with your phone call, with any comments or concerns or questions that you may have on this beautiful February day. You know, this reminds me of all the parades we had of our championship teams on beautiful weather days. The Royals had a World Series parade that was really warm. I think the Chiefs had a parade where it was 70-some degrees. We get these days in the winter. We got to enjoy them. It's a beauty today. Hopefully you can get outside, get some fresh air, as spring is just around the corner. Coming up in a little bit, the World Cup is a disaster in Kansas City. Who knew? It's a disaster. Not my word. Not my word. Nope, I'll tell you who's declaring that the World Cup in Kansas City is a disaster. We'll also talk about Patrick Mahomes' new contract, what it means for the Kansas City Chiefs. He is, well, basically the salary cap is the softest thing in sports. You can massage this thing any way you want. We'll get into what the Chiefs may do elsewhere, and Patrick Mahomes is probably a happy guy. You know, it always sounds like they're taking a pay cut. No, it's a whole bunch of money up front. Some of it gets amortized over years across the salary cap, and it's always good for the team. And then we've got an example of at least two coaches last night in college basketball that did something worse than Jerome Tang this year. Yes. I mean, they could be fired for cause, I guess, at this point. We'll have those details for you. A lot of fun stuff coming up on the show. I'll start today with a tease. In a little bit, if you want to watch on the live stream at KCMO Talk Radio or our Facebook page and all the other places that we live stream the show, the video, I've got a stack of ballots in front of me here from Johnson County from the Olathe School District election. And it's just as fraudulent as I can be, or it can be. And I want to know what you think I should do. I'll ask you about it. I honestly don't. I just got a stack of ballots sent to me. What do you do with them all? Oh, yeah, voting by mail is just awesome. We'll bring it full circle coming up in a bit. Best thing I heard this morning was on Monday in the morning, Melissa Johnson, the Jackson County prosecutor, was on, and he asked her about the crazy Karen that took the lighter fluid and the matches and threw the match like a girl. I'm going to run from this while I'm doing this, and ran from the building and tried to set glass on fire, which I thought was an interesting tactic to try to burn a building down. Was let's spray the glass and set that on fire first. Okay, whatever. Hey, I'm no pyro expert. Maybe she had it right. But Melissa Johnson is on, and Pete says, how's that coming along? And Melissa says, oh, the feds are handling that. And I went, boom, that lady's in trouble. And what a shame that is on many levels, that this is what has happened. Jessica and I were listening together. We were in the bathroom getting ready. I'd finished my podcast. I was up and showering and brushing my teeth, and we're listening to the show on the listen at home device, and I hear this, and she made a comment. She said, Melissa Johnson sounds like she's okay. And I said, well, yeah, well, okay, great. They did a good job on catching the killer and all that. We like that. But we shouldn't feel great when somebody in Jackson County is actually doing their job. But I will offer up to you that she's doing anything but her job. She made it very clear and apparent to Pete that she was not interested in fighting the feds and saying, no, I want this case. The best thing that could happen for liberals in charge as prosecutors, county executives, mayors, council people, committee members, whatever may be the case, as it pertains to that ICE building, because that fire's all over their hands. The public officials caused that woman to go do that. And that was after the owners of the building said, we're not in negotiations and we're not selling it to the feds. It's over. She still went and torched it. That story was over. And the lady went and torched it. Now, I'm no legal expert, but I'm trying to figure out a way why this is a federal crime. Unless you're simply connecting the dots that the lady was out to get ICE and making a statement against a political party, the federal agents are going to take this over, the U.S. attorney is going to take this over, or it may just have been one branch saying to the other, we don't like this case. I think Melissa Johnson just said, I don't want any part of prosecuting this woman. I'm happy with what she did. I'm cool with her trying to torch that building. I think the mayor feels that way. I think the county executive feels that way. I think all the committee members, all the Democrats are proud of that lady. And I think what happened was Melissa Johnson said, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with this. And the Fed said, well, we'll tell you what's going to happen with this. We're taking it. But I honest to goodness don't know why this is a federal crime. But it is now. And my instant reaction was, yes, they're going to get her. And she's going to get locked up. And I started thinking to myself, Kevin, if this is the way you are, you're no better than them. You're thinking the same way they are. We've begun rooting for investigations and judges and outcomes based on politics. But this was not our choosing. This happens because the people that are really in charge of things ignore things. It's almost always in this country in a major city. Something bad happens, a crime happens, and the local officials dismiss it. They let killers go free. Then they kill again. And then they become a federal crime or they cross state lines and we get them and we lock them up and then that's taken care of. Our federal government and Donald Trump has become a cleanup crew. That's all it is. We can't really be operating as a federal government the way we're supposed to be operating. There are very important work, investigations, and jobs that the federal government does with the FBI, the U.S. attorneys. White-collar crime is a massive problem in this country. I know that it's pales in comparison to killers running around on the streets. I get that. But I can't imagine how much of the resources are looking the other way while the really, really bad white-collar people are getting away with white-collar murder at this point, which is just stealing billions of dollars, like we saw in Minneapolis with the Somalis. When you have this much attention being paid to such a massive problem as illegal immigration, and you're getting fought at every level, like Jackson County and the new prosecutor saying, I don't care much for this case, you can have it. She really didn't want to be known as the prosecutor of the woman that went after the ICE building. Mayor Hughes made it clear he doesn't want to make a bunch of public statements against this woman. So now the feds have it. And we're just to sit here and believe that everybody's happy because of the political outcome of this? What if Joe Biden were still president? If Joe Biden were still president, this woman would never be arrested or detained, and we think she will be. I don't think she's been identified yet, but it sounds like they know exactly who she is, and the feds are taking the case over, according to Melissa Johnson, and the feds will get her. Then it will depend on the judge that she goes before. Because Owen McIntyre, the confused young man with mental problems that has transitioned to become a woman that bombed the Teslas, that firebombed the Teslas in Kansas City, Missouri, his case is still pending. I think it might be this August or next August or something that he's going to be, she is finally going to be in a courtroom somewhere. But clearly this one's been pushed to the back burner. And if the right judge for Owen McIntyre is having that case, it's going to wind up being probation and a fine and nothing like it should be for a real crime. You shouldn't be allowed to go firebomb Teslas on a car dealership lot or walk to a massive building that at one point the owners were talking with the federal government about potentially making that an ICE detention facility and attempt to burn it to the ground and not go to jail, not go to prison. And I'm not talking about just being detained for a few days or through the process. I'm talking about a punishment. If we don't punish Owen McIntyre for firebombing Teslas and whoever Crazy Karen is that was out in Kansas City several days ago trying to set that building on fire, we've lost our way. And I don't know what the feds can do about it because a lot of these federal judges are just as bad. They've been appointed, they're letting people walk, and there they go. But what an absolute shame that we now live in a country that the law applies to you and me based on the jurisdiction we're in and who elected whom and what they think of us. And I'm really only talking about criminals that walk. If I go set something on fire, I expect to go to jail, maybe for quite a while. If I tried to burn that building down, I'm thinking maybe I'd be lucky if I got out in 5 years. But that isn't how this works. And I'm hopeful what's keeping the feds from making the arrest and whatever here is maybe they want her to flee to some jurisdiction where they know they can convict her. I don't know. But this seems weird that they seem to know who it is. Melissa Johnson seems to know who it is and says the feds are on it and they've got it. It's a tough spot to be in. And I don't know how we got into a place. I do know how we got into a place like this. We got into a place like this because the Democrats have put us here. And now it's clean up on aisle 6. And that's all Republicans do anymore. We complain all the time that Republicans don't do the stuff we want them to do. Well, everything we want them to do is clean up. My big thing is the voter ID. That's just cleaning up the Democrats' mess. We're literally in this party only trying to take things back to where the Constitution and the laws of our country say they should be. The laws say that everything ICE is doing is legal, and the Democrats voted for this. Their politicians approved all this. And now we're what? Because of a few crazy people publicly or societally, we're trying to make this feel like it's something we shouldn't be doing and it's against the law. Bruce Springsteen's out there telling us that our president wants to be a king. I'm like, oh my God, it's so crazy. And maybe the most disturbing part is the law and order. And depending on where you are, you may walk, or if it's January 6th and you walk into the Capitol building, you may take pictures in the rotunda, walk by some velvet ropes, be in there for 45 seconds and walk out and go to solitary confinement and get locked up for 2 years until another president comes along and pardons you. That's not right. That's certainly not the equal scales of justice. This woman needs to be punished that tried to burn that building down. Absolutely needs to be punished. And I hope the feds can get her, but I'm not confident it'll get before the right judge or the right sentence will be given. 913-408-7957 is the number to call. That's 913-408-7957. Love to hear your take on that story or anything else that's on your mind. We'll do it next right here on Uncanceled.
From Overland Park to Parkville, it's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled.
All right, this is going to be my
95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
I can say that part, dude. Come on, 95.7 KCMO Talk Radio. This is going to be my favorite segment today because I love when we get great callers. We got a couple of experts on the line here. This is going to be good. I'm going to learn something, and you're going to learn right along with me. So here we go. We're going to start with Tony in Lee Summit, who is an attorney, and why this is happening. Hello, Tony. How are you this morning?
Great. How are you doing?
Awesome. Thank you for calling, sir.
Hear you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, I'm glad. I hope I have something to offer. I'm not wasting your time, but because I'm in the car, I can't look up the specific federal sentencing guidelines applicable section for you. But I can tell you this. I can understand the public's perception that a lot of times people don't get what they have coming to them. But I can tell you that if I was betting on this one, on the Tesla fire deal, I don't think the guidelines are very favorable for this person. I believe that there will be some serious time done. And, I've been wrong before in my life, just ask my wife. But I would say that any concerns you have about that should probably be taken care of. Another piece about federal court is that there is no change of judge. So any allegation that there's like forum shopping or that either the United States government or the defense have any say in where the case goes or has the ability to change what judge they have. It doesn't exist.
Okay, I know, but what if this lands in a Trump-hating judge's hands?
Well,
I mean, we're seeing that all over the country, aren't we?
Yeah. I would say, though, that in a case like this, I mean, the guidelines are going to speak for themselves.
It doesn't. They can find something in the book to justify it. They let Kilmar Garcia or whatever his name is go again yesterday. They let him loose again.
Sure. I guess I'm just speaking as a
they're finding
everything.
The system has found every possible loophole it can find to allow that Kilmar Garcia loose every single time because they hate Trump. That's all it is. There's no excuse for letting that guy go.
No, and I'm not arguing about that. I'm just saying I guess what I'm saying is I'm pretty proud of our district.
Right.
And I think they do a pretty good job. And if you look through who these people are, they're good people.
I hope so. And I hope Owen McIntyre gets some prison time, and whoever this crazy Karen is that tried to burn that building, that's a real crime too, and she needs to go to jail.
Now, on the crazy Karen deal, I can't speak for why the Jackson County prosecutor would take any particular action, but in terms of the tools available to the prosecution, the more severe punishment would definitely be at the federal level.
That's what I was assuming all along. I was thrilled the second I heard it was federal, and I thought, well, what a shame that I'm sitting here rooting. Thank you very much for the call. That was excellent, Tony. I'd appreciate you call. Anytime you hear me talking about the law, you give me a call and let me know. But what a shame that we're sitting here rooting for one side or another in what's supposed to be the equal scales of justice. But the Democrats have put us there. And these judges that have gone after Trump for 10 years have put us there. And the FBI being sent to Mar-a-Lago, going through Melania's panty drawer, have put us there. This is not our making, but I'm sitting here rooting for cleanup on aisle 6 and maybe a little payback. Here's Mike in Kansas City. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Kevin. How are you?
Excellent. Tell everybody what you do for a living.
So I'm retired now, but I investigated fires in Kansas City from, 2005 till probably 2021. So the reason that's a federal case is because it met some federal matrix guidelines, especially with commercial buildings. If you could prove that they do business outside the state of Missouri, then that could make it a federal case, and the ATF could investigate it at that point.
Good enough. You're talking about
anytime you're dealing with a commercial structure.
So you're talking about the owners of the building. If they do something in it, if they have any business in a different state, it can then be a federal crime.
Right. It's interstate commerce.
Yeah.
So anytime you could prove that they do business outside of the state, then the feds could come in and investigate it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question they do. They must have holdings in Kansas as well, here in the Kansas City area. So that seems like an easy one.
Right. So it's an easy reason on why it became a federal case.
But typically when you were doing cases like this, and this was before the political climate of today, would these normally have been handled at the county or local level instead of the feds?
No, we would always try to go to the feds with a commercial structure.
Okay.
You know, when you got that one didn't burn down, but normally the building burns down, and it takes a lot of resources to investigate something like that.
Yeah, no,
as far as equipment to find what caused it. So the federal government has a lot deeper pockets than your county.
Well, this one's pretty easy because she's on video of Channel 9 who was there doing a story, and she walked up and set those windows and part of the side of the building on fire with what looked like lighter fluid or the kind of stuff you start your charcoals with or something, and was throwing matches on it. So we know how it started, and yes, because it was seen so early, it didn't burn to the ground.
Yeah, I mean, as a detective, those are the cases you always want.
Yeah,
You know?
right.
Those are easy ones.
Yeah, get the good, easy video.
So,
awesome, man. Thank you so much.
That's
Appreciate all.
That's a federal case.
Thank you, and we appreciate all the hard work you put in through the years, man. Thank you. Enjoy retirement, man. He deserves it. He's earned it. That's real work there. Fire investigation is very complicated and difficult. I'm always amazed when just a few days later or whatever they say, okay, this is what started the fire. They figure out, those Malibu fires took a while, and then they traced a guy who did this, and it started in the brush. He started a little brush fire a little while a ways away, and it spread. That they can find those things and ferret those out is that's pretty amazing work when they do that. All right, we come back. We're going to talk about Patrick Mahomes, and I'm going to tell you what these are. If you're watching on the live stream, these are these are the ballots we're sending in, my wife and I, to the Olathe School District. It didn't have a write-in on. I had two boxes, yes or no, and we checked no, but I wanted a third box that said hell no, and they didn't offer that one. They only offered yes and no. But what are these unopened things? Oh, we'll explain all that coming right up. This is crazy as Kansas has a mail-in election problem on their hands. We'll deal with that and much more coming up on Uncanceled. This is KCMO Talk Radio. We're back right after the news.
from Smithville to Shawnee Mission. It's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
In just a few minutes, your chance to win Santana and Doobie Brothers tickets at Morton Amphitheater this August, courtesy of KCMO Talk Radio. And we're going to talk briefly in a little bit about Patrick Mahomes' new contract. It's going to help the Chiefs be a better team this year. We'll explain that in full. Most of you are aware that Olathe has a school issue on the ballot, a bond issue. They want $389 million because they have fewer students. They need more money because their district is shrinking. You can't make this up, all right? The reason the district is shrinking is people are finding alternatives for their children instead of the zaniness that's going on in all of these schools. This is not picking on Olathe, all right? So if you live in Olathe, don't be offended. I'm not picking on you. They're going through these same problems all around Kansas City and all around the country. And they're indoctrinating these kids. Shawnee Mission East kids walked out yesterday and were out on a street corner with signs protesting ICE. They're doing this everywhere because militant teachers are letting their kids out of class to make signs and go out and do this. In Nebraska, it caused enough trouble that an adult got punched by a couple of kids and his mouth was bleeding. It was Grand Island, or it was a 50,000-person town about an hour from Omaha is where this happened. And it was ugly. High school kids. This is what they're doing with minors. Go out in the streets, be our little foot soldiers, and fight our battle for us because, well, it's the children. The kids are so full of hope, and they're so bright and so energetic, and we got to teach them about the bad things in the world, like the laws of our country. The Constitution and the laws will not stand. We will use minors on the street to let you know that you're evil, that the laws are bad, and the Constitution's awful. We will fight this every turn. So I filled out my ballot dutifully. It's a mail-in campaign in Olathe. They want $389 billion. You heard Trobert earlier today saying it's going to be $600 million by the time it's all said and done because of interest and whatnot. And I voted no. I have no problem ever telling people who I vote for or what I vote on. I understand everybody likes their privacy, whatever. It's not my thing anymore. I just don't care. I voted no. Miss Jessica voted no, gleefully. And she also was looking for a box that she could check that said hell no, except she didn't use the word hell. She might be a little more adamant and militant on this than I am. So, no, we're done. Our kids went through the Olathe schools. They were good. We had good experiences, but my oldest is 35. That's since 17 years ago since he graduated high school. So, I mean, it's not the same. It's clearly not the same. We didn't have students leaving school to go protest the president. That's weird. So I think Olathe has enough. I've watched their sports teams. My kid was on the golf team. I saw what they had. These schools are well funded. They've had enough. I've seen the beautiful new palace of a school that they've built, the athletic facilities. They don't need anything. Sorry, they don't. This isn't for teacher raises either. It's not for better outcomes. It's none of that. It's just we need this stuff. Our district is shrinking. We got to move some schools together and do this and that. So we voted no. But I also get these two ballots if you're on the live stream watching. And I've not opened them yet because I know what would happen if I opened these and filled those out. So we've had them for a couple of days. And I said, Jessica, it would be a heck of a risk in our position being on radio and what we do and public, semi-public figures, whatever you want to say, to fill these out and send them in. But it's the easiest fraud in the world. There's nothing. You sign your name on the back of this thing. That's mine. I sign my ballot. That's it. The ballot's inside. You just check yes or no, and then I sign it and send it. They don't cross-check these signatures with like the one on my driver's license or anything like that to make sure it matches. I have one ballot here for my 35-year-old son that lives in Phoenix, Arizona, and another one for my 31-year-old son who lives in Austin, Texas. Neither one has lived here in forever. I just keep getting these, and I've been getting these for Spencer for 17 years now since he left the house. When he was in college, I'd forward them to him, or he'd come home for the weekend and fill things out and send it when he was a college student, so he would vote. And the same for Cameron. But then that's it. This is how many of these are there out there just for the Olathe School District? If I have two extras, I don't have one for my daughter. I have a daughter. She didn't get one this time. How many extras are out there, Johnson County? I'm just asking. How fraudulent is mail-in voting? The Topeka Capital Journal yesterday reported that there was an audit done by the Inspector General of the state of Kansas. And I don't have a lot of details on this. This is just breaking, but this could become a really big story in Kansas. The Inspector General report says that $446,000 worth of mail-in vote packets, that's what this is. This is a mail-in vote packet. 446,000 mail-in vote packets were sent to voters in Kansas that did not request them. Mostly single moms, people on food stamps, and those receiving state assistance. The Inspector General believes federal law was broken. This was done at the governor's discretion and the Democrats in the state of Kansas via the Department of Health and the Department of Children and Families. Now, if you're receiving aid from the state of Kansas from the Department of Health or the Department of Children and Families, what percentage of those people do you think are Democrat voters? 80? I don't know. I'm spitballing. I don't know. I know it's a lot more than 50% because they went way out of their way to send all these ballots out to people that didn't ask for them. But then they would legally send them back in. From 2022 to 2025, 71.7% of all mailed packets in Kansas, 71% of the mailed packets that were sent out were not requested. They just found people and sent it to them. So guess what, Republicans in Kansas? Clean up on aisle 6. I cannot fathom how dirty these people are at everything that they do. Like, I'm sitting here with 2 measly little votes that's not going to swing this election, and I'm terrified to fill these out and forge my kid's name on them and send them in. Terrified. What happened to people that are afraid of consequences, that are afraid of getting caught, that something bad is going to happen? Well, we can't send 71% of these out to people who didn't request them. Well, yeah, you can, because now it's over. Laura Kelly was reelected. She got back in as a Democrat governor in a state that there's no explaining how Laura Kelly wins. None. She's not middle of the road. She never has been. You can't explain it. It's never made any sense to me. Trump won by 16 points in Kansas. It's not close. And Laura Kelly, 2 terms? Sebelius, 2 terms? How? What are they doing? There's no way. I'm telling you right now, there's no way. And I know it's the off-year election, and they should probably change that in Kansas. That's part of it too. But the difference is the people that vote in different parties. That's where the difference lies. I would never fill these out and send these in. I'm terrified of going to prison. I wouldn't last an hour. I'd be sitting in the corner crying like a little baby. I don't know what would happen to me. I'm soft. I'm weak. I'm just radio boy. I wouldn't make it. I wouldn't make it with white-collar criminals around me. I wouldn't last. It would be bad. No, I'm scared. I'm afraid. No. But crazy Karen? Oh, she's going to take gasoline and lighter fluid to a building and set it on fire for politics. Renee Good? Gas pedal. Alex Preddy? I'm loading up my 9mm. I'm going down there to fight these ICE guys. They don't even care about the consequences. Do you think any Democrat in Kansas or Missouri cares about forging a ballot for their kids if they get them in the mail? No, they're going to fill them out and send them in. That's exactly what they're going to do. Because I know this, because the leaders of the Democrats in the state of Kansas sent $446,000 worth of mail-in vote packets between 22 and 25 out to people that are almost certainly would-be Democrat voters if they could just get them to vote. But these were low-propensity voters. So how do we get the low-propensity voters to vote? Let's send them a ballot. Let's get it to them so they don't have to do anything. No postage necessary. You know what? That's also stupid. If you're going to vote remotely through the mail, it should cost you. Like if you just can't get in your car and go vote at a machine, I mean, it ought to be $15 or $20. You should have to pay a fee to do that. Everything in your state has a fee. How does that not have a hefty fee? That ought to have $15 or $20 to it. I'm going to sit on my lazy butt here at home and fill this out and stick it in the mail, no postage required. There ought to be a fee for that. There really should be. A convenience fee, we'll call that. Everything else has a convenience fee. It's upside down, folks. It's all broken. It's all broken, and we're just left to play cleanup. And I'm loving the Trump presidency. A lot of really great things have happened. I am just certain that if we don't win the midterms, nothing happens the last couple of years, and the cleanup slows down, and it just gets worse. I don't know how you stop these people. If you've literally got tens of millions of people that do not respect or care about the law, they will go break the law on their own just because they hear a call to arms by Chuck Schumer or somebody that I got to go do something. I got to go stop this. You got to stop it. We won't take. And then you'll just go do whatever you got to do, burn something, firebomb a Tesla, whatever the soup du jour is. You go do it as a Democrat. You know they're more than willing to send all these ballots in and do all the things they can with elections, and it's been proven over and over and over. You can't, this going back and fixing the past elections and all that, no. We've got to pass the voter ID. This is insanity. You got to go vote in person. Very few exceptions. We'll find some people that are disabled or elderly in nursing homes or things like that. But no, if you can't vote, I'm sorry, we got to set a standard for what it means to be a voter in this country. And that really sounds like me saying not all votes are equal, but you know what? They're not. They never were and they never will be. That's part of the bad part of the system, but we can live with that. We can figure that out. What we can't do is send an easy ballot to somebody who's not interested in voting. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And that's what Kansas is peddling. We think you fit into this cute little box where you'll vote for our party, so we're going to get you a ballot whether you request it or want one or not. We're just going to get it to you. That shouldn't be the government. If people walk door to door and sign people up and do whatever, I guess there's no stopping that. Although part of this voter ID is going to be cutting back on these little, sign-up events that we have all over the country. Get out the vote, go sign for this, do whatever. That if you're doing that, you can't be affiliated with a party or you can't be affiliated with a PAC. Those people need to be completely removed. If you want to walk in your neighborhood and sign people up to vote and you don't know who they'd vote for or whatever, that's pretty harmless and pretty honest. But if you're working for a super PAC and you're doing it, it's not. It's election rigging and it's everywhere. All right, the good news today is Patrick Mahomes has signed a new contract with the Chiefs. Is cap number, salary cap, if you don't know exactly what that is in football, a team gets to spend X amount. It's way more than this, but let's say $100 million. The team can spend $100 million on player salaries for a given year, and that's it. But the rules within the salaries are very strange. Signing bonuses are different than average salary. A lot of things get prorated out over time. When your quarterback is due to make $78.2 million this upcoming year against the salary cap, you find a way to re-sign your quarterback to a new contract that he likes because he gets money up front, some of which doesn't count against the cap, and some of which is prorated out over years or goes to the back end of the contract against the salary cap. And the Chiefs have lowered Patrick Mahomes' number from $78 million against the cap to under $35 million. So they've done a great job there. I think they're going to renegotiate a deal with Chris Jones. I think Travis Kelce will play for less than he has coming to him next year if he decides he's going to play. The salary cap in football is the most ridiculously discussed thing in the history of sports talk radio since should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame. It's number 2 dumb because every team can beat the cap every year. All you got to do is re-sign your best players, give them more money somewhere down the road, and you're on your way and in great shape. And the Chiefs have done that right here and right now. All right, let's take a break. Let's give away those tickets right now. Santana and Doobie Brothers, August 26th, Morton Amphitheater, Kansas City. It's Riverside, not Kansas City. It's Riverside, Missouri, Morton Amphitheater. It might be Kansas City, but I think it's Riverside. Great new arena, opening in June. They just announced Dierks Bentley is coming. Huge artists all summer long. If you'd like to go, KCMO Talk Radio would like to send you. Be the 7th caller right now at 913-408-7957 for your chance to go see Santana and Doobie Brothers at Morton Amphitheater.
From Lawrence to Leavenworth, it's Kevin Kietzman. Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
All right, Joanna's our winner. She's going to see Santana and Doobie Brothers at Morton Amphitheater. Thanks, Joanne, for listening every day. She said she told Mark she loves listening to the radio station. We appreciate that. How about this? No Jerome Tang, no worry in Manhattan last night. Matthew Driscoll, the interim coach for Kansas State, gave his total support for Jerome Tang afterwards. You know, he worked with Tang at Baylor with Mark Drew, the coach of Baylor, and Baylor's the team they played last night. So they were all apparently Tang's still in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And so I guess they all met before the game or something.
Had dinner.
Did you not? I don't know if you watched any of the game. Did you not feel like Scott Drew was just like, you can have this one tonight?
Yeah, I kind of felt that. I watched some of it, yeah.
Okay, you guys should have this one tonight. Go ahead and get it. But Driscoll was like, I'm all in. I did not come here to be the head coach, and I'm all in with Jerome Tang. He's my boy, which was pretty interesting to hear. Major League Baseball, the Royals practiced yesterday against the strike zone machine, the automated ball strike machine. Apparently, Vinny Pasquantino's pretty good at challenges. Did you see that?
I didn't see that, but I like the challenge idea.
He was 2 for 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
So as long as you get it right, you keep your challenges.
Yeah,
right?
but I think there's a max, and
Okay.
and there's difference early in the game. They don't want any of these early in the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's different rules in the first through third inning. I can only see that this is going to be used for ball 4 or strike 3, generally speaking, in a game where there's runners on base.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, you got to be strategic
Like
with it.
key moments. You can't let your batters do it either. I think this has to be the manager deciding when. Like the player can tap his head and say, hey, I think that was a ball, and then the manager needs to make the actual decision. They shouldn't be letting the players do this, right?
I don't know. I think the players can sense it out. They can feel it when it's a ball
No,
or strike.
I understand that. You want that feedback from the player, but whether or not you're actually turning it in at that moment,
Gotcha.
like
Yeah,
strike one, I'm not arguing it, right? You know what I'm saying?
You're just adjusting your helmet. Yeah, you don't want to get called.
You can't leave that to your player. I think
Yeah.
there's some knuckleheads that would do that. So you can't do it. Anyway, let's go back to basketball. Mick Cronin is the coach at UCLA, and something really interesting happened last night. They're playing at Michigan State, and UCLA has a player named Steven Jamerson, who near the end of the game goes up. Michigan State has an easy dunk, and he just hammers the guy. It was a brutal foul. UCLA wasn't winning at the time. They were losing. So, he's trying to give effort, whatever. Mick Cronin ejects his own player out of the game and says, you got to go to the locker room right now. Well, most people that follow this didn't really know this. This Jamerson played for Michigan State. And so the Michigan State student section was all over him the whole game, and it was creating a problem. They're like, this game's over. Just get out of here. Let's be done with it. After the game, a reporter asked the coach, Mick Cronin of UCLA, about pulling Jamerson out of the game and if that student section was the problem.
What was your thoughts in the student section chanting Booker's name?
I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section.
I just meant overall the way that you
I would like to give you a kudos for the worst question I've ever been asked.
All right, I'll take it.
Did you like
You should take it.
the preparation of the...
Do you really think I care about the other team's
No, I don't.
student
I don't
section?
think you care about the other.
Are you
team.
raising your voice at me?
No, I'm just.
Yeah, you are.
talking.
Yeah, you are. Come on, dude.
No, it isn't.
Come on. Yes, you are. Everybody's standing here listening to you. Everybody. This is on camera. They can hear you. I answered the question. I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section. I coach UCLA. I don't care about Michigan State students. I mean, who cares?
I think I would have. Here's what would happen if Kev was there. I said, I'm not raising my voice, but I should because you're cursing at me and you've insulted me to my face. Right? He used a curse word, and he was insulting the guy right to his face. I'm like, I got every right to raise my voice at this point. I'm not swinging at you, dude. I don't really have that much trouble with what Mick Cronin did after the game, but it was really bizarre watching him kick his own player out of the game. You don't see that very often. You just don't see that very often. Nothing quite like this sports story, Mark. I don't know if you caught this or if this is even that big of news, but there's going to be the owners in baseball are going to try to put in a salary cap. So the negotiations are going to start for a new collective bargaining agreement here in about a month or two for a new agreement that starts next year, the 27 season. The head of the MLB Players Association, Tony Clark, resigned in shame yesterday. You know this story, don't you?
Yeah, I saw it.
This is as bad as it gets, isn't it?
Yeah.
An internal investigation, according to ESPN. Tony Clark, who's a big league player, played for the Tigers, is a good player, is the head of the Major League Baseball Players Association, hired in 2023. He hired a woman to work for him and then began having an affair with her. She happened to be married to Tony Clark's brother. It was his sister-in-law.
Whoopsie.
What in the world is wrong with people? You hired your brother's wife. Oh, you're probably a hero at Thanksgiving. Oh, you're so great. Thank you for the great job. Everything's awesome. He goes, oh, she's really doing a good job. She's doing great.
Job.
Yeah, she's really excelling in her role here at the Major League Baseball Players Association. That's just sick and sad and twisted. They have not named a replacement yet. The owners must be laughing at this point. The Vince Show's coming up next. Thanks for listening to KCMO Talk Radio's Uncanceled.